An important ball carrier for Russia is Valery Tsnobiladze. Little untidy, but there's the breakthrough. The pass was forward. I thought it might have been. Sabato.
Substitution.
Yeah, the hooker caught just under the ribs by Gaston Cortez, the Jaguars' tight head. Tsnobiladze in full tilt.
Who's three?
So replacement coming on for Russia, wearing number 17, that's Maxim Sturza, in place of Evgeny Tronenko. Tronenko didn't seem to be in any difficulty in the scrums. He looked quite comfortable. Denis Antonov, the captain, sweat pouring off his face. Russian hooker still receiving attention. Just to the right of our picture there. May well have been winded by that challenge from Cortez. Kingsley Jones, well, he'd have been pleased certainly with the opening 20-25 minutes. But I bet he's been writing a few notes and underlining them as well, where he feels that his side have come unstuck perhaps in the last 15 minutes or so. Evgeny Tronenko. Let's see how his replacement does. Maxim Sturza from the Krasnoyar club again in Krasnoyarsk.
Binding on the arm. Binding on the arm.
Sergei Popov is the man pinged. Binding on the arm rather than
1 minute,
on the shirt. Just over a minute remaining of the first half then. We're still waiting for the first try of this match, as indeed are the spectators.
Four.
Not too much to shout about in the opening 40. And challenging temperatures. The palm down in the middle of the line out. And some interesting running off the ball by the Jaguars. Aranguren, the lock forward, turning up in some of the most unlikely spaces, or places rather. That's his colleague Cesar Frutero. Plenty of red jerseys over there. Testing Babayev on the left. And his defence is good as Andrew Small blows up to bring the first half to a close. Well, a good start by Russia. Sergei Sugrabov taking them into a 6-0 lead, but then his opposite number, Santiago Gonzalez Iglesias, bringing Argentina Jaguars back into it, and it's 9 points all at half-time with all to play for in the second 40.
hoping that I could be home right now. The feel of the breeze, the smell of the trees under my breath.
See you later.
I hear you calling out. I hear you calling out. I'm wishing that I could be home right now. Right on to you.
A perfect day. Is it the sun, blue sky, fresh air, or perfectly manicured grass embracing a diamond's perfect dimensions? Perhaps it's a day of wonder and hope, or anticipation of pure joy. Its perfection belongs to you. Winter's end, spring's gift, summer's friend, fall's glorious goodbye. In action, in resolution, everything in between. It is always a perfect day for baseball.
Ma'a Nonu shared his World Cup memories with us. At his club in Japan, he's sharing a dressing room with England's James Haskell.
It's really good that you guys are here, because Mars, you never normally see him at training ground.
He trains on Friday, captain's run, and then he plays.
It's normally with Kobayashi, the head of Rico, like going around just signing stuff, doing appearances, opening schools of excellence.
He's right. He does all the time.
On the pitch, he is captain.
Who's the dirtiest player?
No, it's not dirty. It's not dirty. It's like, you know, Skux is a world-class player. If you give him a bit of aggro, you get.
Yeah, mate. Redhead. Yeah, he's really.
Bringing his young family out to Japan was a brave move, but the decision reflects the maturing of his game. As we heard earlier, Graham Henry had divided the All Blacks into two psychological groups: hot redheads and cool blueheads.
They would probably call me a red. I think I'm probably a blue. When I used to play, I was always in the red. Sometimes if I might give a penny away or do a high tackle. As bluehead, you're in a state of mind where everything's calm, but you're alert. I think in my preparation for a game, I would always have a cold shower before I play. It kind of just, it brings me back and makes me calm.
His spell with Rico is over, but he can draw satisfaction from the fact he's helped them to their best finish in recent times.
It's good. It's refreshing, I think, in terms of just another level from Super Rugby. But I've learned a lot in my time here. You know, it's nearly been 4 months, and the good thing is they gave us bikes at our house that we were staying in, and it was good because we never had a car, but we enjoyed riding around. You know, they had bikes with baskets at the front. We would bike down to the shopping centre and just go shopping, put our bags in, and then bike back home. So I think the best thing is you could leave your bike anywhere and no one would touch it. And they're so polite here in Japan, it's crazy.
When he first arrived, he was probably a little bit hungover from the World Cup. Not literally, but obviously on a massive high from that. But to his credit, he slotted straight in, and he was a little bit, probably at the start of the season, he was moving the ball around and kicking the ball, and after a while he's now tucked the ball under his arm and he scored some sensational tries for us.
He now heads back to play for his other new team, the Blues, in Super Rugby. But as a World Cup winner, will it be hard to retain that drive and hunger for success?
It's a good question. I think you do make goals in terms of when you achieve them. You kind of rewrite goals. I think for me it's playing the best rugby I can for the team, you know, I play for, whoever I play for. I'm sure there'll be milestones that still to achieve.
See you later, Total Rugby. Arigato.
France's Sébastien Chabal has a lot to answer for. He, of the unruly flowing locks, had a host of would-be imitators during the World Cup in New Zealand. But there could be no doubting the winner of the prize for the tournament's thickest thatch.
It was actually part of my shoulder surgery, so I used a straight blade razor to shave myself. Wasn't able to do that for a month with my arm being in a sling after my shoulder surgery. Had gotten to a pretty good length. I figured I'd probably do it once and do it right.
But beneath the sprouting beard was a back row forward of genuine talent. In Canada's opening fixture, Kleberger put in a man-of-the-match display against Tonga.
It was great to get that personal accolade, but if you look at that game, I think it really was a whole team effort. I mean, it's cliche, but really everybody on the team really contributed to that win.
And suddenly, the beard was a fashion item.
A lot of it probably came from, being noticeable with the beard. I'm glad that, local Canadian fans who maybe wouldn't have been drawn to rugby in the first place, that hopefully drew them into the sport. But I think, the way that we played as a team was probably what kept them watching for the last couple games.
In their second match, the Canadians went head-to-head with the eventual runners-up, France. And for 60 minutes, a major shock was a distinct possibility.
In the last 20 of the second half and also in the last 10 of the first half, we sort of let ourselves down, got into penalty trouble at the last 10 of the first half, and just I think we had a real opportunity there to cause an upset similar to what Tonga actually did do at the end of the tournament. But I mean, you learn those lessons as you go along, and having been in that situation, hopefully we'll have a better chance at finishing the job next time.
Following a draw with Japan, Canada then lost to the All Blacks, and despite early promise in the tournament, they'd failed to reach their target of winning 2 pool games, albeit by a whisker.
We probably didn't achieve what we set out to do, and I think we probably could have done better than what we did. But if you look at certain times within all those games, I think we showed what we are capable as a nation, and now we have to hopefully bring all those efforts together for a full 80 minutes.
An understated yet highly popular member of the team, his dishevelled appearance inspired a number of nicknames.
The guys on the team had quite a few. Homeless guy was probably the most popular one. I don't know if you've seen the movie Happy Gilmore. His caddy, his name's Otto, so I got Otto quite a bit. Yeah, there was lots of different things. Anything you can think of, really.
Kleberger is currently playing in the second tier of English rugby for London Scottish. It's his second time in England. 2 years ago he was with Rotherham before a short spell with Auckland in New Zealand.
We're a club that's always looking for some world-class players, and Adam's in a position that was critical to us in terms of a couple of injuries he picked up this season, but also in terms of adding that world-class experience. And yeah, to pick him up and see the opportunity was just too good for us not to take him on board. His physicality, more than anything, is something that certainly he's brought to our side, and certainly been a good role model for some of our younger players who are learning the game. He's been tremendous in that area.
I was initially not going to come because I figured I could finish off some of my studies, and that side of things was important to me. But it was sort of brought to my attention that if I make my way over here, I'll be sort of making myself available and seen for hopefully competing within the Premiership or Top 14 or High League for next season.
Some say the major leagues is showtime, where lights are brighter, stadiums bigger, heroes are giants, and memories are legendary. This is where the game is front and center, where the only way you can know baseball is knowing the game within the game. Where stories are told on big screens and lives in full color, and where baseball fans can call home. Where Canada's team plays and are on the marquee 162 games a season.
So Argentina cough up possession. And as Shakirov, the scrum half, goes in, the offload to Pavel Buchenko. Now without the headgear for the second period. It's very, very hot. Temperatures nudging 30 degrees. Coming up to 5 o'clock in the afternoon in Bucharest.
Argentina, Russia.
Russia made a substitution towards the end of the first half. That sees Maxim Sturza now at tight head on the far side of the scrum in place of Evgeny Pronenko. Huge drive coming in from the Jaguars. Aggressive. It was the number 8 who just spilt the ball. There he is, the man who plays his rugby for the London Wasps in England. The ball carrying threat at number 8. That's Victor Gressef. And he'll be annoyed with that.
Crouch! Cannot be hit on here. The number 1 on the outside, okay?
Sergei Popov was the man spoken to. The loose head prop of Russia. Andrew Small just coming over to have a look at the binding on the left-hand side of the scrum from a Russian perspective.
Pause. Engage.
Picked up on the base by Awali, looking to release Fernando Luni. I don't think I mentioned Fernando Luni in the first half, but he's a strong, powerful runner when he gets a chance. Yet another player who's represented Argentina at sevens. Now then in midfield, it's little Javier Rojas. Jaguars being urged to move the ball quickly. Chiapesoni, another sevens representative, finding himself out on the right flank. Russia contesting, but having to be very careful not to be caught offside. 7 penalties given away by Russia in the last 20 minutes, and that accounts perhaps for the scoreline, which looked good from a Russian perspective after some 20 minutes or so. 6-0 they led, having the lion's share of possession during the opening 20 minutes. Aranguren, big burly lock forward, stands at 1 m94. Argentina testing the Russian midfield with the breakthrough. Then is Rojas, the offload. Well, I thought perhaps he could have gone a little further himself, Javier Rojas, but slowly but surely the Argentina Jaguars are putting it together here. Phases of play. Rojas, he was challenged there by Andrei Rokov, but his captain Gonzalez Iglesias couldn't gather under pressure as he was from 2 Russian defenders. He will have had a clip around the ear for his efforts, for his troubles. Well, he's been off the field for some 15 minutes as Evgeny Pronenko, but still feeling the heat.
Time on. 2 knock-ons. First by blue, scrum, red. Middle.
Jaguars looking to make a substitution.
Crouch!
I think that was Nicolas Basile.
Touch! Pause. Engage!
Oh, the Jaguars getting the nudge on early there. Gressef had to respond. It's all hands to the pump here now for Russia. They seem to have recovered.
Argentina onside.
Andrew Small keeping a watchful eye on
Stop red till it's out. Stop.
the Argentina players around the base there. Moyano in 2 minds. He indicated that perhaps he was going to put in the up and under, but then thought better of it. Unfortunately for him, the Jaguars have retained possession through Geronimo de la Fuente, almost up to the Russian 22. Quickly dug out there by Santiago Mendez, the front row union, getting in on the act. Mendez once more then into the hands of Javier Rojas. This is better. Lunia, Chiapesoni just about manages to keep the ball in play. Rojas is there again, but swallowed up by 3 Russian tacklers. All to no avail though, because it's a penalty for the Jaguars, quickly taken by Moyano, as Argentina are in the hunt and looking for their first try of this match. Mendes to Gonzalez Iglesias, the little popper pass there from Cortese. The breakthrough almost coming there for, may well have been Moyano actually. Oh, poor hands there from Fruttero under pressure.
Went backwards, play.
So play still goes on. It's all a bit untidy at the moment. All a bit scrappy. Bodies everywhere. But some neat little touches from that man, the hooker. Not so good from Felipe Aranguren. That's Pavel Kvanadze. Flanker, Georgian by birth.
Number 1 red, substitution 1.
I saw Alexei Volkov there, the replacement prop forward, eager to come on, and he will replace Sergei Popov at Lucet. There he is.
Rusiei a intrat jucătorul cu numărul 16, Alexei Volkov. Iar în echipa argentiniană, jucătorul cu numărul 17, Nicolas Basile.
Two substitutions for Russia. We have number 16, Alexei Volkov on the field. And for Argentina Jaguars, number 17, Nicolas Basile.
Wears 17. He's on for Gaston Cortés.
Pause. Engage.
Powerful scrummager is Nicolas Basile. Kresev off the base. Sugrabov does well. Good strength being shown by the outside half. Shakirov. Back to Otrokov. Gets good distance on the kick. Well judged kick. Not finding touch though. And Moyano on the Jaguars.
Keep coming, Argentina, keep coming.
On the counter. Kresev loves to run with ball in hand. Shakirov. Well, good work there by Otrokov, the fullback.
Hands in the ruck. Hands in the ruck.
And again, it's those little mistakes creeping into the Russian game.
Number 15.
Losing the concentration, can play the ball on the ground with your hand. Otrokov did extremely well here. Almost got away from Fernando Lunia. In very quickly was Aranguren, the lock forward, and there, a little hand that shouldn't be there. And this an opportunity for Santiago Gonzalez Iglesias to put Argentina Jaguars ahead for the first time in this match. Not a difficult kick, you wouldn't have thought, but then again, there are no easy kicks in international rugby. Just outside the 22, and, allowing for the breeze. 3 penalty goals to date for Santiago Gonzalez Iglesias. Can he make it 4 out of 4? No problem for a kicker of Gonzalez Iglesias' caliber.
Santiago Gonzalez Iglesias, Argentina
penalty goal, which takes his side into the lead at 12 points to 9. They lead for the first time 9 minutes into the second half.
The score is now Argentina Jaguars 12, Russia 9. Substitution for Argentina on the field, number 22, Juan Sochino.
Ball, please!
So confirmation of the score as the Jaguars make a substitution. Juan Sochino is on in place of Captain and outside half, I think. Lunia. He's number 8, Lisandro Awali. 2 international caps for the number 8. Another Sens exponent. Russia now then. They have men over here. Could be a score if Babayev can get there. Almost Shakirov quickly with the offload. Good pick up there. Lovely pick up by the replacement prop forward, I think it was. But Babayev came oh so close. A chance again for Russia. The ball is spilt. And a chance goes begging. But that was the best chance that the Russians have had with ball in hand.
Time off.
Mikhail Babayev scored a try against emerging Italy and also against Uruguay. Almost made it a hat-trick of tries. That was a good tackle there from the Argentine player. It is actually the captain who's still on the field, Gonzalez Iglesias. For how long? Not quite so sure. But it was a tackle that had to be made on Babayev.
Knock on red, scrum, blue.
It'll be a Jaguars put in.
Russia,
But this is the best position for Russia in this second half. And can they outmuscle the South American nation, who pride themselves on their scrimmaging ability? Volkov on this side, the replacement.
Number 1 on the outside of the scrum, not on the head, outside. Thank you.
There's some monsters in that front row on both sides.
Touch. Pause.
Volkov against Basile on this side. Volkov finally getting a hold on Basile's shirt. It's all about bragging rights between those two front row unions.
After the whistle, you stop pushing. Okay? Thank you.
Yeah, the Russians wanting to establish their superiority in that hospital play and not holding back. Pushing even after Andrew Small had blown his whistle, just to make the point.
Touch. Pause.
Big hits. Yeah, the captain can't believe it. Why his team were penalised. I think it was the man on the far side that right in front of the referee, Maxim Surtsa, may have been in some difficulty.
Segura. More.
Argentina look to bring it away from their own 22. Francisco Piccinini was 16. Little underhanded pass. Wally thought he'd spotted a gap in midfield. That was quickly filled by Alexander Makovetsky, the Russian 12. Sugrabov was there as well, the outside half. And Argentina asking probing questions again of the Russian defence. Looked to be a high tackle. There's going to be an advantage here for the Jaguars, and that is what is being indicated by Andrew Small.
Number 14, tackles down. Tackle down.
Nothing malicious about it. But that's given the Jaguars a chance to kick for position here. Cut off it was. Round the neck. A high and dangerous tackle is what it deemed by Andrew Small.
Five. 10 metres.
Jaguars substitutes warming up. Or stretching, I should say. They don't need to warm up. It's warm enough as it is already. The game has deteriorated again. Heat taking its toll on the players. 19, that is Pavel
Another substitution for
Konadze.
Russia on the field. Number 19, Pavel
for Pavel Putenko. Konadze, wearing 19, only started playing at 19 years of age, but quickly progressed through the ranks. Under 19s, under 20s, and now finding himself this year as a full international player.
Time on. Here. Knock on blue, scrum red. Time is on.
So just the one score in this second half. 16 minutes gone. Penalty from Gonzalez Iglesias, the Jaguars captain, through the legs again from Aggressive. Tackle not completed. So Russia go again. Shakirov with the offload to Fatakov. Very difficult man to bring to ground, as he's proving again, almost up to halfway. Shakirov to Sugrabov. A kick meant for the right winger, Kotov probably, but it dropped into midfield, and it's well taken by Fernando Lunia. It may have been hooker on hooker. Snobiladze on Cortese. Russia driving forward, showing good strength again. If only they could keep it amongst the forwards. That's a waste of a kick from the scrum half Shakirov, because the momentum was with Russia. A kick charged down by Makovetsky. The mark being called for. Well, that's an interesting one from Gonzalez Iglesias. Somebody should have called for it from the ranks of the Russians, because they let it bounce, and it's bounced back into the hands of the Argentina Jaguars. Play opening up somewhat as Mendez digs it out for the big man, the replacement Francisco Piccinini from the San Isidro club in Buenos Aires. 22, that's Juan Socino in midfield. Socino. Slowly but surely, the Jaguars making their way upfield through Ramiro Moyano. Seems to have moved up into midfield himself. Rojas is the man to have gone off by the looks of it. The number 12, Ranguren, good hands from the big lock forward. Not so good from Juan Socino, and it didn't go forward. Deep into the Russian 22 then, that's Cortese leaving it for Hawali. And Russia will have to be on their toes here. The tackles will have to be made as Gonzalez Iglesias brings in Fernando Lunia. Good hands from the wing three-quarter. Huge gaps in the Russian defence. Cortese spotted the gap. But he took his eyes off the ball, and that's a let-off for Russia, who are blowing heavily, these Russian players.
Pauză de hidratare, 1 minut.
Nudged forward there by
1 minute water break.
Sturza as we arrive at the water break, and just the 3 points scored in the second half by that man, Santiago Gonzalez Iglesias. Kingsley Jones having come down from his perch in the grandstand to make his point, because it's crucial for him that Russia do get the victory here. Looking for IRB ranking points. So important, of course, because at the end of the year the draw will be made for the Rugby World Cup in England in 2015, and will be made on the basis of the positions of the respective international sides in early December, and after the round of the autumn internationals. But it's back to us here. That is Darren Morris, the former Wales and British Lion prop forward, helping out Kingsley Jones in the Russian coaching setup.
Încă două schimbări în echipa Rusiei. Au intrat jucătorii cu numărul 20, Alexei Șerban, și jucătorul cu numărul 21, Dimitri Gerasimov.
Another 2 substitution for Russia.
At the base
on
of
the
the
field,
scrum,
number 20,
it's now Alexei Shcherban,
and number 21, Dimitri Gerasimov.
in place of Alexander Shakirov. Dmitry Gerasimov is also on. He's a centre, and he's wearing number 21.
Just a slip. Both players. Just a slip.
So just a slip there. That's why Andrew Small asked the teams to reset. Slowly but surely, Jaguars would appear to be gaining the ascendancy in the scrimmage area. Lunia did well. Now then, has to be a try here, surely, for the Argentina Jaguars. Ball a little slow, perhaps coming out to the left wing there. But good work by Fernando Lunia, coming in off the right flank and causing all sorts of problems for the Russian defence initially. Getting the good pass out there, but Russian cover was good. So Gonzalez Iglesias, the Jaguars outside half there now, is the second highest point scorer ever in the competition, having overtaken Dan Dumbrava, the Romanian, outside half, with that penalty taken earlier on in this half. Luciano Orchera, the former Italy A representative, holds pole position in the kicking stakes. A drive coming in from Argentina, and again questions being asked on the Russian defence here, but tremendous work by Dmitry Gerasimov, easing the pressure for an instant there, and the clearance kick will give them more breathing space. Into the final quarter then. Yeah, blowing hard still is Evgeny Bronenko. It's still a one score game.
Number 10.
9 plays 12.
And you 10? No.
19, that's Ignacio Passman from the Champagnat club in Buenos Aires. He's a flanker. And this is Benjamin Madero, who scored 16 points against Romania, including a try, and he will take the place of Gonzalez Iglesias.
Wait.
There goes the captain.
Stop.
got a bit of a bang earlier on. He's not been in the best of sorts in this second half. So let's see how Benjamin Madero can cope as the link man, wearing number 21. Was stolen by Russia at the line out. Sherban, the replacement scrum half. Good distributor of the ball to his captain, Denis Antonov. A little more urgency since the little Sherban has come on. Antonov driving hard and low into the Jaguars midfield. Narangoren is the latest player to depart. There's so many stoppages now for substitutions. It's very difficult to find a rhythm. Lucas Ponce is the replacement, wearing number 18 for Argentina Jaguars.
Sorry, Russia, come back, please. Time on. Knock on red, scrum, blue. 2 marks, sorry. Coach!
And the breeze favoured Russia in the first half.
Pause. Engage.
When they were playing from left to right. That's where the Jaguars the Russians spread out to crossfield.
Leave it.
Waiting for the another wave of attack. Mendez. Plenty of forwards offering themselves. Securing possession. Out it comes to Madero. To the number 8, to Wali. Just brushing aside the first tackler. 3 red jerseys there on Mendez, the scrum half. He was going nowhere. So the defense of Russia is good.
Time off. 2 Russian players now.
But they just can't make that breakthrough when they have the ball in hand. Still a close run thing though. Just 3 points the difference. 15 minutes remaining. The Jaguars in 3rd place in the table, ahead of Russia. The win would give Russia the impetus that they're looking for, and to climb above the Jaguars into 3rd position. Kingsley Jones, well, he will have learnt a lot about his squad and the depth in his squad over the last 10 days or so. Good take of the back of the line out there. Been Fatakov actually. Sherban, that's a high hanging kick, but it's out on the full. So they'll come back to where Sherban lifted the kick in the first place for a line out for the Argentina Jaguars. Not too much for the spectators to shout about in this second half. Haven't seen one clean break as yet. Could come here though. The initial incursion into midfield now then. The quick release is what's looked for. It's a turnover though for Russia. That it's illegally done, says referee Small.
For an Argentine player to keep
Madero
talking. You just play the game. Can you tell them?
is the new captain. The replacement outside half, and it'll be he no doubt to take this this penalty.
Shot is called.
From the San Isidro club in Buenos Aires, Benjamin Madero helped himself to 16 points against Romania. Last time out, and that would have been on Tuesday of last week. It ended 23-21 in favour of the home side. So the significance of this kick is that Russia will need to score a converted try to take this match. And they've only come close once when Mikhail Babayev almost went in at the corner, but it's a rare miss for Benjamin Madero. So that's a let-off for Russia, and it stays then at 12 points to 9 here. Madero just having a look over his shoulder. I can't believe what happened there. From right in front of the posts. Just can't fathom it.
Substitution for Argentina.
So latest substitution sees the Argentine scrum half, Santiago Mendez, being replaced by Marcos Bolini, another Buenos Aires representative, but this time from the Newman club. Lucas Ponce with the white headband.
For scrum non-contested, on the field we have number 3 for Russia, Evgeny Konenko.
This is good running from Juan Socino. It's there for Moyano, the fullback. Brushes aside the first tackler, and it looks ominous here for Russia. Now then, will the try come this time for Madero, looking to make up for that missed kick a minute ago. He's laid it back nicely. In goes the replacement passman. Almost to the try line. One more effort might bring its own reward for the Jaguars here. But it's slow ball yet again. The forwards take it up. Are they over the try line? Yes, they are. Referee Small eventually blowing his whistle. It's a popular try for Nicolas Basile, the replacement prop forward, driving hard and low, allowed to place it forward. Despite the protests of the Russian players, it's a try for the big guy. Nicolas Basile plays his rugby for Aurillac, Stade Aurillac in France. Nico Basile places some daylight then between the Jaguars and the Russians. It's already a 2-score advantage that they have, courtesy of that try from Nicolas Basile. And surely Madero can't miss from here. No, he can't. So the 8-point gap becomes 10. And a more respectable look to the scoreline as Russia trail by 19 points to 9 with just over 10 minutes remaining.
Now, Argentina Jaguars 19, Russia 9.
So Argentina Jaguars looking good to hold on to their third place in the table. Russia need to score twice. And they need 2 tries to all intents and purposes to win this one. A converted try and a 3-pointer would only make it a draw. But Jaguars now have the bit between their teeth, and the passes are sticking as well. Madero Short pass back inside, and another try looks to be on the cards. Madero coughing up possession. Well, it was advantage. Russia, you probably heard Andrew Small state as much. Russia need to secure and control possession. Now look how quickly the Jaguars have reformed in defence. It's an all-important, crucial element of the game these days. Games are very often won on defensive tactics. It's based around a solid defence. Yeah, the elementary elements of the game, so to speak, are sometimes lost on the Russians. The basics. Sherban to Sugrabov. Dmitry Gerasimov. Powerful player again from the Krasnoyarsk club. So the Jaguars probably have done enough to win this one, but they'll be looking to add another score surely to make that final scoreline a little more convincing. The Russians have battled hard throughout this match. They got off to a very good start. 2 penalty goals for Sergei Sugrabov. They looked well in control then with ball in hand. But a number of indiscretions before the break saw the Argentine captain Santiago Gonzalez Iglesias bring the South American nation back into this match, and this could round it off for them. Marcos Bollini, the replacement scrum half, round under the posts for a second try in 5 minutes or so, and that has taken the game away from the Russians, the tiring Russians. They've battled hard, they've battled well, but they still have a lot more work to do, and that's what Kingsley Jones will be aware of as their tournament comes to a close here.
24, Russia 9.
Argentina out to 24 points now. The hard running initially of Benjamin Madero, the offloader to his halfback partner Marcos Bollini, round under the post to make the conversion easier. Another 2 points.
Pentru 2 puncte, Benjamin Madero, 26-9 pentru Argentina Jaguars.
And it's somewhat dejected Pavel Bochenko looking on from the sidelines.
The score is now Russia 9, Argentina Jaguars 26.
And suddenly the gap is opening, 17 points now, whereas it was 3 points at most for over an hour. An hour 10 minutes to be exact. Russia 9, Argentina 26 with some 6 minutes remaining. Argentina with their tails up. Ponche goes to ground, sets it up again. And all those little moves prepared on the training park coming to fruition here, as Argentina Jaguars running away with it now, but they'll have to come back. That last pass to Jeronimo de la Fuente was forward. Moyano, yeah, that pass was the one deemed forward. Cut off. He had a lot of work to do. He was watching the fullback off his wing. Anton Ryabov is on for Sergei Sugrabov, who's looked quite comfortable in the outside half position. The Russians have been starved of possession for the greater part of this game. They've been on the defensive, and you can only defend for so long.
Coach! Touch! Pause! Engage!
Powerful drive from the Jaguars, but Russia have it. Now then, can they finish with a flourish? Can they get a score of their own? This looks promising. That's better. Babayev was well marked by Lunia, and the ball stolen, quickly spread into midfield by Marcos Bolini. The kick into space, and filling that space was Artem Fatakov. One or two players in the Russian side. Well, they've shown some good skills, and they could well do with playing at a higher standard, and that would certainly help the cause. And that's what Kingsley Jones has been trying to impress upon his players, that there are opportunities out in the big world. And we've seen Vasily Artemyev, of course, one of the stars of the Russian 7 squad, now playing for Northampton. And no less than 8 or 9 players, senior players, either resting or not available. So Kingsley Jones can take heart that he's got the core of his team, the hard core of his team, missing probably. And he has been looking for some youngsters to step up, and he will have made note of the performances of Sergei Trishin at times, Mikhail Babayev as well. And he's got competition at scrum half between Shakirov and Sherban. Similarly in the front row, perhaps that's where the weakness is. The technique is not quite there at the moment. And hopefully that'll be resolved by Darren Morris, the former Wales and Lions hooker. Big men then in Antonov and Wojtov, that lock forward. Adam Burns as well, the Australian, not on duty today. Australian born, from Russian heritage. Just got a glimpse there, Matias Cortese is giving his all this afternoon for the Argentina Jaguars, the hooker.
Pause. Engage. Still advantage.
Recovered well by Bolini. So the gap opens up for Fernando Luna. Can he go all the way? Fernando Luna, show and go from the winger. Can't get that offload away. But the support was slow in arriving. There could be men over here for the Jaguars, and it's the big guy, the replacement, Lucas Ponce, who's over for a third Argentina Jaguars try. And Daniel Urcade, the coach, on his feet to celebrate that try from the replacement, Lucas Ponce.
The score is now Argentina
This try
Jaguars
takes
31, Russia
the Jaguars
9.
out over the 30-point mark. It's a heartbreak then for the Russians right at the end. The defence outstripped, stretched to its limits, and it was Ponce in the end getting the crucial score. Kingsley Jones knows that there's a lot more work to be done before Russia can be competitive at a higher level. And this is what this Nations Cup is all about, of course, to give countries like Russia the opportunity to get exposure against top-class teams. The Argentine Jaguars certainly proving a point here. 33-9 then. The score with just over a minute remaining. Madero adds another conversion to the third Argentine Jaguar try. But all created in midfield by the right winger Fernando Luna. Oh, that's well taken from the restart. Could Russia have the final word here? Mikhail Babayev makes the ball available after the tackle, but it just trickles into touch. Tronenko is back on. Well, you'd think that the game was still in the balance, wouldn't you? The Argentina coach. So into the final minute then. In the shadows, 2 more games to come, remember, Portugal against Uruguay, and then the climax to determine the home of the IRB Nations Cup for the next 12 months, and that between Romania and emerging Italy. And there'll be tremendous excitement all around this ground when Romania take the field, as they have never won the tournament. They came second in 2010, that was their best result. So just a matter perhaps of a consolation score possibly for Russia. They have time for the line out. And this will be the last piece of action of this opening match on the last day of competition in the IRB Nations Cup for this year. Starts as always with the line out. The throw into the back it goes, then driven on there by the replacement prop forward Alexei Volkov, almost to the Argentine try line. Can they keep their side of the scoreboard clean in terms of tries? Certainly, as they set and get ready for the defensive challenge. We're into time added on by referee Andrew Small, as Russia, through their forwards, would love to score a try here. Snobiladze very prominent throughout this match, the ball carrying hooker. This time surely Pronenko almost there. He's over, but he's been held up. And that is it. It was not to be for Russia. Argentine Jaguars, they held out those crucial scores in the second half. Basile with the try that made the difference, which took the Argentine Jaguars out to 8 points clear, and then another 2 tries saw Argentina Jaguars home in style. They've defeated the Russian Bears here at the Stadio Marco de Triumph with a final scoreline which reads Russia 9, Argentina 33.
Discover a new world. A world that connects you to the most live matches from the world's greatest football leagues. A world celebrating the top rugby rivalries from the northern and southern hemispheres. A world where the colors of cricket are captured on the biggest stage. Discover your world that can't be seen anywhere else. Sportsnet World, fueled by fans. A perfect day. Is it the sun, blue sky, fresh air, or perfectly manicured grass embracing a diamond's perfect dimensions? Perhaps it's a day of wonder and hope, or anticipation of pure joy. Its perfection belongs to you. Winter's end, spring's gift, summer's friend, fall's glorious goodbye. In action, in resolution, everything in between. It is always a perfect day for baseball.
England, despite remaining unbeaten, have struggled to play any fluent rugby. It wasn't always the case. Back in 2001, they scored 29 tries in the tournament. Their attack coach then was Brian Ashton, a man who questions whether professionalism and the detailed analysis it entails are always for the benefit of the game.
Not all around the world, but in certain areas of the world, the environment that the players play in tends to stifle creativity. You would like to see a little bit of a freer approach in terms of game preparation. My concern about analysis is it leads to that dreaded phrase game plan, where we tend to put everything in a little box and say this is how we're going to play the game. The contrast to that is to have a framework in which players are allowed to operate, and yes, analysis. We need to know generally what the opposition are trying to do, both with and without the ball, but actually